what is this? So I'm unboxing the new Eureka. They assembled it. Well, there's the plastic bag. So what? I gotta disassemble it to get this plastic totally out. Yeah, that's not good. I'm not gonna be able to get that out now. I gotta get out my tweezers. Maybe I can pull out most of that. That's trapped in the base of the Minion Oro. So I can't really get this out without disassembling the base, I think, and I'm not gonna bother. I think it'll get covered up by the wood base, but that's kind of stupid. Yeah, so it mostly obstructs it. It's under there. Yeah, you can see it from the side. If you're looking for it, the light's not good here, so you can't see it, but I can actually see it a little. So this wood block, I think it seems the same as the original version. I did have the original version. I returned it. Might be a little lighter actually, but not a big deal. I remember the base of this was really hard, you know, solid wood, and it felt quality, and then the top part was kind of flimsy, and I think it's still pretty flimsy. I can't remember if they've improved it or not. Like, I don't remember exactly what the original was like, but might be like a tiny bit thicker on the ledge. I'll show you. So this is the wood lid that goes on top of the bellows. I can't remember, there might be a little bit of a thicker edge here, but it's still pretty light. Pretty light and flimsy. Not, yeah, I think it would break if you drop it. What those lines are. I guess that's the wood. I remember people complaining about the finish. There's like some grease marks. It looks like there's still some, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. Some of it might have been from my greasy hands. That always happens. But I like the matte look to it. I like the dial. The last one had these little spikes that ended up coming off and sticking in my finger, which was not pleasant. This one feels like it's glued on pretty good. Don't want to get stabbed again. This one seems to be good. It looks like it's on nice. Cup looks nice and fits. Kind of like that they have a rubber gasket. They have like padding on the wood part. They have padding on this part. They have rubber gasket on the ledge in there, and they have rubber on the bottom, so it's not metal on metal contact really. I mean, it is when you put it in, but it kind of sits and it's kind of got a nice padding. So I kind of like that. My favorite part of the grinder, though, is this little guy. Not the hopper, but the isn't that cute? The little twist tie. I don't know, when I first saw that, I thought it was hilarious. Little like, hello. When you unwrap them, it's more like a centipede, which is a little less cute. Alright, this is hard to do on video with my one funny thumb. Yeah, alright. Here he is. I freed him. Beautiful. Best part of the grinder. The hopper fits very nice and tight on this. There's a little rubber gasket, same as the previous model, the previous version. Don't know if this feels, yeah, this feels a little more robust maybe. I don't know if they changed this. I don't remember. I probably didn't use this much because I was trying to use the bellows mostly. But this thing, it used to have little strings of plastic. It was just really cheaply made. Looks like they cleaned it up a little. It looks more professionally made now. I don't see any little strings of plastic hanging off this. This feels similar. So one complaint was that this was poorly finished. I mean, it might look better. It's a little shinier. Yeah, It's pretty nice, like shiny finish. So I don't know if that's what they improved, but yeah, it's not like I mean, it's not gonna cut you. Some people complained it was too sharp. I don't think it was that sharp. I can't remember. It's been a little while since I had the first version, but yeah, this slides in and out pretty nice. It's gonna be a pain in the butt to use with had to put away the so here it is with the wood hopper, I mean the wood lid and the bellows. Yeah, it looks pretty nice. One thing I wish is that they kept the button back here. Is that a button? Oh wait, it's not plugged in, so I'm not gonna find out, but it doesn't feel like a button. They could have done the same thing where they have you know, they have the option for a portafilter fork and a button there, but instead you just gotta turn it on the side, which is gonna be a pain in the butt because my espresso machine's right here. Feels like a good switch. Yeah, and I'm gonna test out the bellows once I put some coffee in. I might want to wash this and I'll probably use it tomorrow. A good test might be against the Lagom P64. Right now I have the stock Burrs in there, which I think are kind of similar to the high uniformity SSP Espresso Burrs. And knowing Eureka, it's not going to be they're going to be a little different. So I find Eureka Burrs in this one that I had previously, and also in the Atom 75 and also Specialita. I find they're a little lower clarity, like they kind of blend the flavors together, which does work well for like medium roasts, and depending on your taste, it kind of makes it easier to get good results for like lighter roasts and darker roasts, and it's kind of, you know, it works for a wider variety of coffees, and it makes everything kind of pretty good. That's why people like Niche Zero and a lot of conical burrs are like that too. They kind of blend flavors together more, and I remember the burrs on Eureka are usually that kind of style. That's why they don't do so well for filter coffee, because usually you get more fines in those, and that kind of gets over extracted and bitter. But in espresso, I guess you don't have enough time to make them that bitter. It kind of obstructs clarity, but it adds to the body. So with this, I found I only did 2 shots with these burrs in this one, and I found it was pretty good clarity and a little body too. It was yeah, it's good. So I'm liking the burrs in that, and then we'll see how these are. I remember liking the coffee out of this in the first version, even though the first one was clogging up and causing a whole bunch of frustration. Just because the retention was all over the place, the bellows didn't work, and I'm like, I paid for a bellows, I want the bellows to work. Like, why does it come with the bellows if it gets so clogged up in the chute that it can't be used? It doesn't make sense. So this one, we're going to test it. We're going to see if it clogs up at all. Yeah. But it is a very nice looking grinder. I like it so far. So hopefully they fix the issues with the first one. I'm gonna maybe wash the parts a little, because I like to do that. Clean the cup out, the hopper, dry it off, and we're gonna use it tomorrow, because right now it is past midnight. So I tried again. I wasn't able to get this this plastic out. I'm just gonna leave it. So here's how the wood piece works. So it has a couple rubber feet. I like the rubber feet. It's also magnetic, which I think is kind of unnecessary. I think it's slightly magnetic. Then you have, this big heavy metal thing with the little rubbery pad so it doesn't vibrate. And then you put the cup on in there. So yeah, there's no room for vibration as far as I could tell. The old one had an issue where the whole thing would just shake and vibrate, but supposedly they fixed it on this latest version. I I noticed it actually works with if you have an aftermarket 58mm cup. At least this one, it's pretty well. It's not going to fall out or anything. Yeah, maybe if you push it in hard, it's a little hard to get out. But yeah, the Eureka one is definitely prettier. Not as nice as the Niche Zero cup with the rounded bottom, which is kind of probably overkill, but you know, it's nice. It has like softer rounded edges. This has not sharp edges, but you know, it's just seems very similar to these cheap cups, which is dirty right now, but basically the same idea. I just have a little 3D printed thing on there, so it locks into the DF64 and also P64 portafilter. So that's what that's for. It also comes with a little jacket. Most of them are just bare. They don't have a little jacket, which definitely not necessary, but it's a cute little addition. Alright, so here's my initial first ever grinding on the Eureka Oro single doser version 2, or 1.1 I think they're calling it. So it does sound, I think, quieter, vibrates less than the original, so they fixed that problem, but I do hear like a metallic kind of vibrating something. It's not the cup. Sounds like the burrs are vibrating, or maybe it's this. I don't know. There's something vibrating. This thing's in pretty solidly. I'm gonna push it down more just to make sure it's all the way in. Keep it all the way closed. Yeah. Something metallic is making a slight vibration, but it's definitely not loud. It just it sounds like it could have been quieter if they stopped whatever was rattling there. Similar to the Weber key, where it's like it should be a quiet, very quiet grinder, but they have this noise in the motor or gears or something that it's annoying. So I'm just going to do about 2 grams of this badly roasted coffee, just to see. There's no coffee in there, so I expect there's probably going to be some retention. Made it in. Alright, so I'm going to remember to tear the cup. Break this wood thing already. Okay, so you're supposed to start it, then you open the chute. Close the chute, and then you bellows, but I'm not going to bellow yet. So I gave it a little extra time just to see if anything shoots out. Wow, okay, we only got 0.1 of a gram out, but the bellows is going to fix that. Alright, so now we're going to use I'm going to hit it, I'm going to keep it running. So you're supposed to use the bellows while it's running. Yeah, you gotta push hard a few times. Anyway, let's see what we got out. Oh, it kind of smells good. 0.6. But this is kind of the worst case scenario, or the initial filling of the little crevices where some coffee might want to hide. So yeah, I'm gonna see what kind of grind size this is at, because I don't know. Yeah, it looks kind of espresso like. Maybe I'll try my first shot with this bad coffee just to get an idea of how get it dialed in. So we got 10 grams, and in my left hand. Okay, so we're gonna try it again without the bellows. Oh, we gotta open it. Oh yeah. It's gonna be annoying. Is it like a waterfall? Alright, so looks like it's done. Let's just see how much we get without the bellows. 8.3. So yeah, it definitely seems like it needs a bellows unless it's still settling. Yeah, using this without the bellows, I don't think is that's worse than the Specialita. Oh wait, we gotta close this. What I did there is just blow chaff. So yeah, you kind of gotta hit it hard, but I think it's coming out. Come on, 10 grams? Nope. 9 grams. So yeah, I don't know. Can you see the Declumper? I don't know what I'm looking at here. It's hard to get the angle right. It looks like it's mirrored, so it's kind of trippy. So I noticed some of the air is escaping through tiny crevice over here. So there's like a notch where it's cut out so that this thing only fits in one way, which I don't think it needs. They could have just used a rubber gasket and not have a locking screw. I tightened the screw just to, be sure that, I think it's down all the way. I don't know if the tightening screw did anything. I don't think it needs it because it's in there. Like, I had to really push it down hard to get it fit in all the way, and I think it is all the way. Should be all the way down, but there's a little bit of air when you hit the bellows escaping, so it's probably better than it used to be, and it still should do the bellows. It should do the job, but it'll just require more forceful hitting rather than having no way for the air to escape, rather than out through the chute expelling the coffee. I don't know why they had a little extra wasted airflow going through there. I don't know if there's a reason for the engineering behind that, or it's just something they carried over from a previous design, or something useless. Alright, this one I'm going to actually use for coffee. So I kept the grind size the same. We got 17 grams of this coffee. It's probably not great. And, let me tear this thing. And so yeah, that's teared. Multitasking here. And now we open the chute. See, there's a little popcorning there, but the thing does its job. I'm gonna do the bellows now. So I know it's not gonna have 17 grams out, but maybe now it will. Nope. Yeah, so you gotta hit hard. I saw a little more. I don't know if that showed up on camera, but like nothing was coming out. Then I persisted, hit a little harder. Definitely better than it used to be. And we almost got 17 out. But the DF64 would have better retention. The Specialita had better retention without a bellows. The Specialita had, I calculated it about to be 0.8 grams of exchanged retention. It had maybe 1.5 to 2 grams total retention, which mostly stuck to the Declumper or the sides of the chute somewhere. So if you use a bellows, you'll get out extra coffee, but if you don't use the bellows, I did a test where it only exchanged about 0.8 grams, which didn't seem like it was really enough to affect shots. And it was very consistent with you put in 18 grams, you got out 18 grams. With a bellows, with any bellows grinder like the DF64, I find the bellows adds another variable where sometimes the bellows might not work as effectively. Depends on how hard you push it. There's also fines that come out when you hit it harder or hit it more, so it adds some extra variables, and I find that can lead to more inconsistency. So I like when I put in 18 grams and I get out 17.9 or 18.1, 18.2, 18.3 even. But not a fan of it being half a gram. 0.3, 0.4 maybe is okay. But when your dose is half a gram short, not ideal. But I'm going to keep testing and see if it's consistent like that. This is the grounds after I did a little bit of WDT with the needle tool. There she is. There's a little bit of clumps. I'm not really too concerned about stuff like that. This is before tamping, obviously. I just tapped it down to kind of level it off like that. All right, so that coffee was under roasted, which I knew, and it wasn't that great, but that's not the grinder's fault. I'm gonna try with the good coffee now. This is a light roast Artie from Social. Well, I think this grinder would be a good comparison with the SSP Caspers in the DF64. I think this one's probably a little less conical-like, but I always thought Eurekas were kind of conical-like in their flavor profile. They kind of blend flavors. So 16.5 grams. You can tell it's getting a little dusty. Oh, there's cat fur too. But you should see my DF64 right now. I removed the Declumper on that, so it's got a little dust. It's definitely quick to grind. Relatively quick after going to the Atom 75. Like, that thing is just a beast. Awesome, smells good. The good thing about pumping the bellows excessively is you really get that coffee smell in the air. You get a little bit of workout. Oh, nice. So, oh yeah, I did 16 and a half in hopes of getting 16 out. So like, where, there we go, 16.1, it's growing. Yeah, so it kind of was predictable, but predictably half a gram less. But like, what's gonna happen next time? Is it gonna take another half a gram? Where is this half a gram going? Eventually, you're gonna put in 16 grams, and you're gonna get out 17 or 18, probably 17. But yeah, we'll see how it performs. This grind size should be good for this in a different, I'm using a different basket now, and yeah, let's see if it's dialed in okay. So here's the coffee pile as I dumped it from the basket, from the dosing cup. And I will try and do a WDT with, gotta use my Lagom P64 funnel. That will prevent a mess. Going right to the bottom, gently. And then I give it a little tap. So, a little bit of clumps. And let's try not to drop my coffee. All right. Magic of the puck press. A little out of focus. All right, nice. That last coffee was actually, despite it running long and being ground too fine, was actually pretty good. Yeah, I think it's higher clarity than I kind of described it. It was a nice, smooth, drinkable coffee. Maybe it just got lucky, but We're gonna try it again. Instead of grinding coarser, actually, I'm gonna use a paper filter. This isn't perfect. It's a robot filter for a robot 58mm group, but with the decent, this is a decent 15-gram basket, which I'm gonna put 16 grams in. It fits fairly well. It goes a little big on the edges, but I'm gonna try that. Apparently, that will require a finer grind, and it helps with getting a better flow, helps with more even extraction, supposedly. So, how do I use this thing again? What am I doing? Okay, so yeah, we need the dosing cup. I'm gonna measure, you know what, why am I using? Let's make it simpler. Whoops, I didn't tear it, actually. Okay, so this way we can, I don't know why I'm doing it this way now, but now we have 0, so I should get 0. If I get more out, that means we got, 16 grams plus whatever. If we get less out, then we'll know by how much. So that works just the same. Getting dustier. Close the chute. The chaff came out. Some pumps. Smells nice. And we lost 0.8 of a gram, which is pretty big. I kind of like the dosing cup, how it has a little, like you can shake it around like that. Has a little play. But whoops, yeah, I got this problem with the niche too. So that's the good thing about the DF64's plastic cup, although it might be worse for static. Doesn't seem to affect the DF64 that much, but when I tried the plastic cup on this grinder, it was a nightmare with static. But yeah, so sometimes this happens. Oh, I don't want to vibrate it because then it will fall onto the counter. So it's fine as long as it stays up like that, and then you hopefully have a good dosing funnel where you can do that. And then yeah, so I was saying the plastic cup you can actually see. So I don't want to go too deep just because there's a paper filter now, but I still want to try and get the bottom. What was I saying? Yeah, with the plastic one you can see through and make sure it's not a huge heaping pile on one side before you remove the thing. So that is, I should do a comparison with how the grounds look out of the other grinders. So yeah, when I'm saying it's like it would be a good comparison with the SSP cast burrs, I think those ones are more conical-like. I don't think it's it might be a better comparison with the stock burrs in the Lagom P64, but I suspect those are better. The key might also be interesting to compare with. That has a very flat burr-like profile with a little bit of extra umami flavor from like the conical burrs, which I find is nice sometimes, usually. Yeah, usually. So despite the channeling of the last coffee, it actually turned out really good. And I think these burrs in the Eureka, they give out a good balance of flavor clarity, and it seems to be easy drinking. Maybe it's just this coffee with these burrs, but it's been turning out. Yeah. I think I kind of remember that from like the Atom was the same way. Atom 75 I had briefly, and the previous Oro. I think it is smoother than the Specialita, unless I'm just getting better at brewing. It's possible. Because when I had the Specialita, I remember there was more bitterness, a little more harshness, but that could have just been me. These burrs seem like they're good. So you get a good balance. Like I had some body in there, and which I didn't notice much with this coffee lately. So So yeah, good mouthfeel, easy drinking. We got a little bit of clarity. There's some fruitiness, which is what this coffee's supposed to have. So I'm gonna try it in the P64 with the stock Burrs and see how it compares. I think it's probably a little more intense in that one, based on what I remember, but I did it in my Euro Piccola the other day, so we'll try it in this one, see how it compares. Alright, we're gonna do 16.1 or 16.2, and I adjusted a little coarser to, it was at like 3, now it's at like 3 point, I don't know, 3.3. Let's tear this. Watch for what comes out when I hit the bellows. Doesn't look like much. Did anything come out? Actually, I should start weighing it before and after hitting the bellows. So I did put in 16. What did I put? 16.2. Yeah, it's good. So we got 16. So let's see if we can get more, because I think some of that 16 is probably what was in there from before. Oh, fuck. Yeah. The wood kind of stuck to my hand and flipped off, but I saw more come out when I hit it hard. Yep. We got a whole 5 of a gram out. So I'd say maybe it's best to not use the bellows and just let it work like how I use the Specialita. But I think I need to test that more. It's kind of annoying to have to hit it so hard or so many times, but it's definitely not clogged up like the first version would clog up. So now that I got 16.6 out, even though I adjusted it coarser, I'm guessing my shot time's still going to run too slow. Unless I throw out some of this coffee, but I don't like wasting things, so I'm going to use it and see what happens. Alright, I'm going to try the P64. I decided to reuse the filter. I think it's still good. 16 grams. Let's see how much we get out. So we're going to tear this. And I'm going to do it at the highest RPM. I haven't actually tried this. I don't know if it's dialed in. And so it sounds like at the highest RPM. With stock stock Lagom P64 Burrs. A little quieter with the lid. And no bellows on this. You can get something like a little bellows, or you could just give it a little tap. But there shouldn't be any retention. Let's see if we got, look at that, 16. What did I put in, 16 or 16.1? I think it was 16. So yeah, sometimes it gives out a little less, a little more, but 16 is good. And let's take a look at the, here, I'm gonna dump it. Here's what the grounds look like out of the P64 with the stock Burrs. I'm gonna give it a little stir and then we'll see. Ooh, maybe poke the filter. And with this decent basket, I still get channeling a lot of the times, but I think it's also because I'm grinding too fine. So yeah, I'd say there's less of those little clusters, little clumps. I still see some on these Burrs. Looks a little fluffier, which yeah, might lose some when I go into the tamp like this. think I saw a crumb kind of escape over the edge. That's what happens if there's a little too much, like if it's you know, overfilled. Gotta tap it down more before, or actually I am overdosing in this basket. It's a 15-gram basket and I put in 16, but it usually works. Oh. Yeah, I did a few shots in the Oro. They turned out similar. So yeah, I actually think I preferred, there's like a little bit of like a weird oil. Sometimes when you grind way too fine, you get such an extraction that you extract the oils from the coffee. So I noticed that was happening on this one. It didn't happen on the Oro coffees, but it happened on the P64 one. So usually when that happens, it's going to be gross. It's going to be like way too over extracted or finely ground so that you're, you know, getting the oils out. But it was it wasn't too bad. It's pretty good actually. But the Oro one was better. So, but I think we can definitely get better out of the P64 and their Burrs. But it's surprisingly not too far off. Like it was kind of a similar profile. We have a little bit of clarity, like a good amount of clarity, and some body too. And both of them were pretty easy drinking, like not bitter. I don't think I was noticing much sourness. It's a light roast, but I kind of don't mind sourness lately, or it's just not excessive anyway. So it's fine. So here is the Oro after a few days of use. I may have dusted it off once or twice. Once, yeah, probably once. Yeah, I'm using a little. Yeah. So grind quality, I like. It's pretty fast. It's not too loud. Pretty easy to use. Not too bad. The bellows system still needs. I still don't think it's perfect. So you do have to beat the bellows pretty hard to get the last half a gram out. It's usually about 0.5 of a gram. There's still some air escaping from that side. If they had a better seal, then I think it would be easier to push, or if they modified the Declumper chute area, which they said they did, but it still seems like a good amount of effort to break, you know, so the air breaks through the coffee barrier. Definitely better than the first version, which was near impossible, pretty much impossible to break through with the stock bellows. I had a aftermarket bellows, which is much stronger and had a better seal. So with that one, you can manage to push through on the previous one, and it should be even better on this. Actually, I still have it, so that would probably make it better. Here's the DF64. So I may have touched the spout a little. That's why there's some clean areas. But yeah, this is I haven't cleaned up this area in a little while, but I haven't used this grinder too much either. So yeah, that's the DF64 in comparison. The Oro, yeah, I'd say it's pretty close to the Lagom P64 with stock burrs. A couple shots I thought were better on the Oro actually, but I didn't have it really dialed in. Today I think the P64 did better. I had it on slightly lower RPM, so you know, the Lagom has RPM control, which gives it an advantage. But the profile is similar with the stock burrs on the DF64. Sorry, the stock burrs on the P64, and the let's just look at this one for a bit. Stock burrs on the P64, kind of similar to the Eureka Oro. Which I always thought was kind of more blended, but it's not. It's a little more blended, like a little less clarity, but still pretty good. I think it would make most people happy. If you like medium or darker roasts, or sometimes want to experiment with lighter roasts, it's kind of a good all around. Where DF64 or most of the burr options are kind of like high clarity. They did a good job with their stock burrs. on the P64. The DF64's Italmo burrs are pretty high clarity. I wouldn't say they're ideal for like dark roast. The cast burrs, which are in mine, they're probably better for dark roast. But then I figure, why not just get SD40 or some smaller, cheaper conical burr grinder that's capable of espresso, and that might give you a similar profile for less money. Versus like a DF64 with the cast burrs. So yeah, there's a lot of options for single dose grinders these days. More coming. All right, so lately I've been able to get the I put in 16 grams. I got it 15.3 here. The Bellows hasn't given me anything else out, so I've been beating it up. Same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try this guy from my old Specialita. So that was a tight fit getting that thing off. So we got this, which has a little indent, which hopefully should fit. I remember it was it fit in the previous version of the Oro. Just kind of a tight fit. I should have really, you know, I'm not going to shove it all the way in. Doesn't really matter. It's a good enough seal. It can go in. Just probably need to clean out the coffee grounds from there first. That would probably be a good idea. But we're going to try. This was also, I bought a new one of these. This one was a little tighter fitting onto the thing than it used to be. Oh, you know what? Yeah, we need to make, my previous one I had a hole in the top, so that will help it rebound. So maybe I do need to, oh yeah, so there we go. So now, that was a big clog. 15.7, alright. Better than it was. Now the air's flowing through okay. And you can see the dust has come out. Yeah, 15.7. Nothing's touching the scale. Yeah, okay. Anyway, it's good enough for now. Better than 15.4. Alright, so a little follow-up. I just started using the Oro SD single doser without the Bellows, and first time, as expected, I put in 16.5 grams. I only got out 15.7, which tells me there's you know, a little under a gram of retention, which is better than the Specialita. And yeah, usually it's like a half a gram that's kind of stuck in there before you bellows. So not too much, but how much is actually exchanged? So what I did today, I put in 16.5 and I only got 15.7 out without using the bellows. It needs to fill up the little crevices. So once that happened, I put in another 16 grams and I got out 15.9 without using the bellows. And I purposely changed the coffee. The first one I put in had a little bit of a weird taste, which it's an anaerobic processed coffee, which I didn't think I loved, but actually it's pretty interesting. It turned out pretty good today. Yeah, sometimes they're a little too strong, like some weird, strong, like fruity flavors that like, it's not even like a fruit flavor I can determine what it is. It's just a kind of a weird flavor to me. So I don't like that when it's too strong, but this one's kind of balanced. It's actually, I might as well mention it. Yeah, it was this one I used. So I purposely used this one. Oh, no, wrong one. Actually, I used this one. So yeah, maybe it's like red apple kind of flavor. I don't know, but it's not that strong in this one. I mean, it is strong and it's a very fruity, interesting coffee, but it wasn't as bad as some other ones that had a similar flavor that just kind of grossed me out. Oh, and those ones also, there's a weird side effect where like it always flows too fast. This one flows normal as an espresso, so I don't know what kind of weird processing they do and how it affects the extraction, but It was like you have to grind super, super fine, more fine than any normal light roast you would normally grind for. And it still flows fast. So with this one, yeah, pretty much a normal setting, it works. So it's not that weird. So I put that one in first. Then I put in this guy for the second shot, just to see if I could taste any of the flavors that I noticed in this one, since it's pretty strong in this one. And I don't think I noticed it, at least not much. So that tells me there's not much exchange retention going on. I could also do a test with the grinds. It's a grinder cleaner tablet. I have a couple of those left. I could try that. I've done that in the past. And each one little bean is like 0.3 grams. So put in one, and then you see if any of it comes out. If it's coffee that's coming out, then you know you have 0.3 grams of retention at least. Then you put in another 0.3 grams, and then you basically see when the coffee stops coming out and when the grinds, which is white, so you can kind of tell the difference. Contrasting color. That way you can tell how much it is actually being exchanged. And then you do the opposite again to confirm. You can start putting coffee in, see how long it takes before you start seeing the coffee ground up with the white grinds. So with the Specialita, I did that, and despite it having like up to 2 grams of retention, it was only 0.8-ish of exchanged retention. So with this, having less retention, I'd say it's even more viable to use without the bellows. So I feel like Eureka was just trying to check off some boxes with the bellows. Like, it doesn't necessarily need the bellows, but they wanted to compete with the DF64 and maybe some Cedo, whatever, however you say it, Cheetos. They're single doser options that have a little bellows. So I feel like they just added that without knowing how to like perfect it so that the bellows system works beautifully. I feel like they just included that just to say, oh, it's 0 grams of retention when the bellows works. Or just to say, oh look, it's a low retention single dose grinder. It has to have a bellows. Here's what a single dose grinder is supposed to look like. It has a bellows. But no, you don't have to have a bellows to be a single dose grinder. Whoops, bad example. This has a little bellows, and it does actually help. But most of the retention on this thing is just in the chute, which is detachable, so you just kind of knock it out. But yeah, this guy, I mean, some people do add a bellows to it. It's the P64. Just tap on top, and then you can kind of get out if there is anything left in the chute. There's no knocker on that, unfortunately. Yeah, so I feel like they didn't need to put a bellows, and it probably works better without the bellows as long as it doesn't clog up. Because I found it was clogging up. I did it again after my first clog, and I cleared it with the bellows, stronger bellows. I put another 16 grams of coffee, and it was like hard again to knock out. So yeah, the bellows not amazing. It needs more power, and it needs to have a proper seal over on this side. There's air leaking, and it's yeah, it's hard to clear the chute, but the force of the coffee will clear the chute. Whether that's yeah, it's probably not ideal, because like we know from the DF64, it's possible that when coffee's held back and needs to force its way through, it's possible that it gets reground, or it gets you know, the fines kind of accumulate, or the flow is slowed, and that kind of causes coffee to get ground or hit by the burrs or some moving parts more than they should. Maybe the sweeper arms on the sides of the burrs to kind of keep coffee flowing down through the chute. So if it can't flow through the chute, there's some resistance created. There's probably more heat created. And I don't know if the heat's really enough to affect the coffee, but yeah, it might create more fines and change the profile of the coffee. Today, however, I did a really nice couple of coffees with this grinder. I like these Burrs. I remember them not being as good, but I've been impressed. Maybe after having the SSP cast Burrs, which I don't like in this thing, yeah, it's just it's a good balance compared to the SSP cast Burrs, which I think are mostly body, not much flavor clarity. Right now, I switched back from the cast Burrs to the stock Burrs, which I've never tried before actually, in the P64, this guy. And yeah, I've been liking the P64 stock Burrs a lot. It is actually very similar to the stock Burrs on this at the same RPM. So I did a test the other day where I did a couple tests with the same basically the highest RPM on that, which is still slower than the RPM on this guy. But the flavor is very comparable. Today I did a shot with the same coffee on lower RPM, and it was smoother on the P64, like easier drinking, a little more watery. I don't know if that's just the way I pulled the shot, but less intensity. I found as the shot cooled, at first actually I noticed more of a kind of a strong, it was with the first coffee, the weird tasting one. I noticed a weird kind of lingering aftertaste, but the second time I tried it after it cooled, it was gone. It was actually pretty good. So I don't know if that's from the high RPM, but I didn't get it on this one. So that's the benefit of the variable RPM. It does change the profile, so you can tweak it if you want something that's a little higher in body. Higher RPM works better. If you want higher flavor clarity, a little lower RPM can help. Oh yeah, I did also notice there was less body in the lower RPM shot on this, but previously at the highest RPM, it was very similar. Body and flavor clarity and just overall profile. So yeah, I've been liking the stock Burrs on both these guys. And I'm going to continue to use this without the bellows, and we'll see if there's any clogs or any ill effects. But this is going to another home soon.